Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum students. Welcome to our 13th lecture of MTH 108 Business Math 1. Today we will continue with our chapter 6, which is about quadratic and polynomial functions. In our last lecture we have discussed the quadratic and polynomial functions, particularly only the quadratic functions, and we have seen that why do we need the non-linear functions? Because many real world problems cannot be solved or cannot be approximated by using the linear functions. So we need the non-linear functions. When the question comes to the non-linear functions, the simplest one are the quadratic functions. In our last lecture we have defined what do we mean by quadratic functions, and we have done a lot of examples to see how we can identify that the given function is a quadratic function or not. And if it is not a quadratic function, then what are the problems which causes it not to be a quadratic function. Then we were also interested in the graphical representation of the quadratic functions, and there is one way to obtain the graph of a quadratic function which we have done in our chapter 4. That is, we take some values of the input and the corresponding values of output, and then we plot these points accordingly and obtain the graph of our quadratic function. But we have seen that the graph of a quadratic function is always a curve named as parabola, and there were some properties of parabola which we have studied in our last lecture, namely concavity, that is when the parabola is concave up or concave down. What are the intercepts of our given parabola? That is the x-intercept and the y-intercept. What do we mean by the vertex of the parabola? And in today's lecture we will see how we can find the vertex of a parabola. What is the axis of symmetry? And in our last lecture we have seen that how we can find the concavity given a quadratic equation or quadratic function, how we can find the concavity, and how we can find the y-intercept and x-intercept. In the case of x-intercept, there were two famous methods or easy methods. One was the factorization method and the second one was the quadratic formula. We have already done these factorization method and the quadratic formula in our chapter 1 when we were solving the second degree equations. Okay ji. But before going on, let's revise some basic facts from our previous lecture. By now all of you should remember the general form of the quadratic equation, which is y is equals to f of x is equals to ax square plus bx plus c. Is this all, or we need some condition? Definitely we need the condition that a is different from 0 and a, b and c are constants. Let's have a look at some functions of second degree and identify which of the given functions are quadratic functions or not. First we have our function s in terms of the variable t, which is defined as 2t into t square minus 1 divided by t into 10. After simplifying, what do we obtain? First we have to simplify it. We can easily see that we can cancel out t, and what do we obtain? We obtain 2 into t square minus 1 into 10, which is 20t square minus 20. So initially the given function does not look like a quadratic function, but after simplifying, what do we obtain? Or we can also write this as 20t square plus 0 into t minus 20, and comparing this with the general form, we obtain that a is equals to 20, b is 0 and c is minus 20. And the conclusion is that the given function is a quadratic function because a is different from 0. Second example is we have x4 minus 4x square plus 4 under root. If we first look at our given function, does it look like a quadratic function? There are only two options, either it is or it is not. Okay, so let's simplify it. Can we simplify it further? Yes. How? If we look at our first term, it is the square of x square. The second term is the product of 2 times 2 into x square, and the third term is the square of 2, and the under root remains as it is, equal to sign. This is equals to basically our quadratic formula of a minus b whole square, that is x square minus 2 whole square under root. And we all know that the power of under root or power of the radical sign is 1 by 2. So this is nothing but x square minus 2 whole square into 1 by 2. The power cancels out and we obtain x square minus 2, or x square plus 0x minus 2. So now the simplified form tells us that the given function is indeed a quadratic function with a equals to 1 different from 0, b equals to 0 and c equals to minus 2, and this is a quadratic function. Okay, one more example. We have our function t4 minus t square plus 1 under root. Okay, now can we simplify it further in the form of the square which we have done in our previous example? No. Then this will stay as it is, or if we try to simplify, it will be equals to like this, but it is not a square of any formula like a plus b whole square or a minus b whole square, which means that we cannot further simplify our given function, and the conclusion is that the given function is not a quadratic function. Not a quadratic function. Okay, now we have revised that how we can identify that the given function is a quadratic function or not by doing some more examples. That initially the given function looks like that it is not a quadratic function, but we can simplify it further and can compare it with the general form to see that the given function is a quadratic one or not a quadratic one. Okay, now next thing which we have discussed in our last lecture was about the concavity of the quadratic function, y-intercepts and the x-intercepts. You will recall them, revise them as well. For example, we have a function y equals to minus x square minus 5x. Then what can we say about the concavity of this given function? Indeed, the given function is a quadratic function, and for the concavity we we are only interested in the value of in the coefficient of x square, which is a, which is equals to -1 here. Now if you remember from our last lecture that if the coefficient of x square is negative, the given function or the graph of the given function is concave down. So we have concave down in this case. What about the y-intercepts? To find the y-intercepts, okay, first we do another example and then we will find the y-intercepts on the right side. Second example is s is equals to 20t square minus 20. The same example which we have just seen as our first example for the case of quadratic functions. Okay, now in this case, what is the coefficient of t square? The coefficient of t square is 20, which is positive. So the graph of the parabola will be concave up because the coefficient is positive. Now we come to the y-intercepts. For the first function, to find the y-intercepts, what is the procedure basically? We only have to put x is equals to 0 because y-intercepts are the points where the graph intersects the y-axis. Then on y-axis we know that x is equals to 0. So by putting x is equals to 0, we obtain that y is actually equals to 0, which means that our y-intercept in this case will be nothing but the origin 0, 0. Okay, for the second example, here we have to put the value of t equals to 0, and by putting t equals to 0 we obtain s is equals to -20. By putting t equals to 0, we obtain s is equals to -20. So our y-intercept is 0, -20. In fact, the s-intercept here. Okay, so now we have revised that given a quadratic function, how we can find the concavity just by determining the sign of the coefficient of x square, and how we can find the y-intercepts of the given quadratic function. Now we come to our next topic, next thing which we need in order to sketch the graph of our quadratic function, that is the x-intercepts. Okay, we take our previous examples, y is equals to -x square minus 5x. Then x-intercepts are basically those points where the graph intersects the x-axis, which means that on that point y is equals to 0. So by putting y is equals to 0, we obtain -x square minus 5x is equals to 0. Now we have a quadratic equation or a second degree equation in one variable. And in order to find the x-intercepts, basically we are interested in finding the roots of this quadratic equation. To find the roots of a quadratic equation, we have two main methods, namely factorization method and by using the quadratic formula. Here in this case, we can easily make the factors of our given equation. So by making the factors, what do we obtain? We have, if we take -x common, we obtain x plus 5 is equals to 0. Now definitely -x means -1 into x, which implies that since -1 is never equals to 0, we have x is equals to 0 and x is equals to -5. So we have obtained the two values of x, or the two roots of x, which are basically the x-intercepts, that is 0, 0, the origin, and -5, 0. Okay. Now, if we collect our previous information for this given quadratic function, the concavity was down because a is equals to -1 is negative, so it is concave down, and the y-intercepts were y-intercept was origin. So with the help of these three informations, we can have a rough idea of our given, we can have a rough idea of the graph of our given quadratic function. That is, the graph passes through the origin when x is -5, on the x-axis -5, which is the x-intercept, and it is concave down, which means that graph passes through this point, going in this direction, passing through this point, going in this direction, and now we connect from the top, which is a bit wavy now, and so this is the graph of our given quadratic function, with this point as -5, 0. Okay, we do the same thing with our second example, which was s is equals to 20 t square minus 20. And first thing is that we have to find the x-intercepts. To find the x-intercepts, again we have to put s is equals to 0, which gives us 20 t square minus 20 is equals to 0. Taking 20 common, we obtain t square minus 1 is equals to 0. Clearly 20 cannot be equals to 0, so t square minus 1 is equals to 0, and by solving this second degree equation, we obtain t is equals to plus minus 1. So the x-intercepts are 1, 0 and -1, 0. So we have two x-intercepts. The given function is concave up, and the y-intercept were 0, -20. Okay. Okay, our y-intercept, let's say this is our point 0, -20. This is concave up, which means that it will be open from the top. Now this is our point 1, 0, and our second x-intercept -1, 0. And then we will collect these 3 points by knowing the concavity, going up this way, and then on the left side going up this way. So this is the sketch of the graph of our given quadratic function. Okay. Further, we have seen in our last lecture that there are 3 possibilities of x-intercept of a quadratic function. The 3 possibilities were when the quadratic function has one x-intercept, when it has 2 intercepts, and when it has no intercept. Okay, and what do we mean by this? By one intercept we mean that the graph looks like this, passing through the origin. By 2 intercepts we mean that the graph may look like this, that is crossing the x-axis at 2 different points. And by no intercept we mean that the graph does not cross the x-axis at all. Now these three possibilities of having the x-intercept of a quadratic function is equal to the three possibilities of the solution of a second degree equation. If you remember the lectures from our first chapter where we have solved the second degree equation, we have seen that the roots either by making the factors or by using the quadratic formula can be of three types at most. That is one real root, okay, two distinct real roots and no real root. So one real root means the graph intersects the x-axis only at one point, which means that the quadratic function has one x-intercept. Two intercepts means two real roots, two distinct real roots, and no intercept means no real root. Okay, up to now we have revised what we have done in our last lecture. That is how we can determine the concavity of a given quadratic function, the y-intercepts and the x-intercepts. And what do we mean by the three possibilities of the x-intercepts or the three possibilities of the roots of a quadratic equation? They are actually the same. Now we come to our today's topic, which is about the vertex of a parabola and axis of symmetry. In our last lecture we have said that to sketch the parabola we need four things: concavity, x-intercept, y-intercept and vertex. So far we have the information that how we can find the first three things, that is the concavity, x-intercept and y-intercept. Now we want to see that how we can find the vertex of our given of the parabola from the quadratic equation. Now the vertex is basically the point of the parabola or of our graph where the graph changes its direction, and the vertex is given as by the formula with x coordinate as minus b over 2a, with y coordinate as 4ac minus b square over 4a, where a, b, c are the constants of our quadratic equation, with a different from 0. Now if we have our a positive, which means that the graph is concave up, then the vertex will be the lowest point on the graph. If our constant a is negative, which means that the graph will be concave down, then the vertex will be the highest point on the graph. And what do we mean by this graphically? That a is positive, which means that the graph will be concave up. It will look like this. If this point is the vertex, then we can clearly see from the graph that this point is the lowest point on the graph. Lowest point. And what do we mean by the highest point? For example, if this is our parabola, a is negative, so the graph will be definitely concave down, that is open from the bottom, and in this case the vertex will be basically the highest point of the graph, that is the maximum height the graph is attaining. If this point is the vertex, then this point is the highest point or the maximum value of y which is obtaining from this quadratic function. For a positive, the vertex will be the minimum value of y. Okay. If we look at the coordinates of our vertex with x coordinate as minus b over 2a, and y coordinate as 4ac minus b square over 4a, then they are somewhat similar to our quadratic function, a part of our quadratic function. Our quadratic function is x is equals to minus b plus minus b square minus 4ac under root divided by 2a, and we erase this extra line. Okay, so this is our quadratic formula, and this x coordinate is nothing but the first part of our quadratic formula, and the y coordinate is somewhat resemble the under root part of our quadratic formula. So if we know that our x coordinate is minus b over 2a, I will not go into the detail that how do we obtain the x coordinate which is minus b over 2a, but knowing that we have our x coordinate which is minus b over 2a, we can find our y coordinate. How? We have our given function y is equals to f of x, which is equals to the general form ax square plus bx plus c, and we know that x coordinate of the vertex is minus b over 2a. Since vertex belongs to the graph, it is a point on the graph, so we can easily find the value of the function at this point, that is minus b over 2a. So y will be equals to, in this case, a into minus b over 2a square plus b into minus b over 2a plus c, which is equals to b square a over 4a square minus b square over 2a plus c, which is equals to, simplifying a, 1a cancels out, we obtain b square over 4a minus b square over 2a plus c, and further simplifying we obtain b square minus 2b square plus 4ac divided by 4a, which is nothing but our y coordinate, which is 4ac minus b square over 4a, and the vertex is a point that, what do we mean by the axis of the symmetry? That suppose this is our graph with this point as the vertex, and if this is our vertex and we pass a line, a vertical line through this point, that is the vertex, then we obtain our axis of symmetry, that is the line passing, a vertical line passing through the vertex. And this axis of symmetry basically divides our parabola in two equal halves like the mirror image of each other, and axis of symmetry pass through the vertex. So in this case, this vertical line is the axis of symmetry. If the graph is concave up, somewhat like this, then what will be the vertex? The vertex will be this point, and the vertical line passing through this point is not well drawn. So in this case, this line is actually dividing our parabola in two equal halves, and this will be our axis of symmetry. Up to now we have only studied the definition of the vertex, or in particular we have seen the coordinates of the vertex, which are x coordinate is minus b over 2a, y coordinate is 4ac minus b square over 4a, and we have seen that given our x coordinate, that is minus b over 2a, how we can find our y coordinate. And the axis of symmetry is a vertical line passing through the vertex, and divide our parabola into equal halves. But just for some little information, that what do we mean by symmetrically? Basically, geometrically, symmetrically is a pattern which a graph or a curve follows, or a pattern repeated after a same interval. Now graphs are usually symmetric about y-axis, x-axis and the origin. So we have three types of symmetry when we have graphs or when we are plotting the graphs of our functions. Now what do we mean by the symmetry about y-axis? That is, about y-axis, we say that if a point xy lies on the graph, then the graph will be symmetric about y-axis if the point minus xy also lie on the graph. Okay, first we will see the definitions of the symmetries about y-axis, x-axis and the origin, and then we will see what do we mean by them graphically. Symmetric about x-axis means that if a point xy lies on the graph, then the point x minus y also lie on the graph. Okay. Now the case of symmetric about y-axis. For example, we consider our parabola y is equals to x square, which means that if a point xy lies on the graph and the graph is symmetric about y-axis, then the point minus xy, that is the point in this quadrant minus xy, so this is our minus xy, should also lie on the graph. So this is we mean by symmetric about y-axis. And symmetric about x-axis is if we have our graph like this, it's too kinky. Okay, if we have a graph like this and a point xy lies on the graph, then the point x coordinate will be positive and the y coordinate will be negative, x minus y. That is this point. X minus y also lies on the graph. In the case of symmetric about y-axis, this point should also lie on the graph. So this is what we mean about the symmetries about y-axis and x-axis. Now we come to the symmetry about the origin, that if our point xy lies on the graph, then if the point minus x minus y also lie on the graph, means that the graph is symmetric about origin. And what do we mean by this? That let's say if we have our graph like this, then if there is a point x y on the graph and there is also a point minus x minus y on the graph, then the graph will be symmetric about the origin. In particular, the graph is symmetric about this line y is equals to x. So this is how we can determine that the given graph is symmetric at all or not. If it is symmetric, what type of symmetry it shows? Y-axis symmetry, or about x-axis symmetric, or about symmetric about the origin. How we can find the symmetry of a given graph? About y-axis, if we replace our x by minus x, then and we obtain the same value of y, then our graph is symmetric about y-axis, as in the case of our this example, which is the example of y is equals to x square. If we replace the value of x by minus x, the value of y should remain the same. Okay, then symmetric about x-axis. In this case, if we replace our y coordinate by minus y and the point still lies on the graph, or we obtain the same value of x, then the graph is symmetric about x-axis. Okay, we look at our diagram again, that if we replace y by minus y and we obtain the same value of x, then the graph will be symmetric about x-axis. This graph has the equation x is equals to y square. Okay, symmetric about origin. In this case, we replace x by minus x and y by minus y. Then by replacing, if we obtain our answer same, then the given graph will be symmetric about the origin. For example, our this graph, for example, for the sake of simplicity, our cubic function y is equals to x cube. If we replace x by minus x, for example, if we take x is equals to 1, we obtain y is equals to 1. 1 cube is 1. And we erase this extra line again. Now we have to replace x by minus x, so x is equals to minus 1. And what do we obtain? Y is equals to minus 1 cube is minus 1. So y is also replaced by minus y. So this type of function will be symmetric about origin. For example, our simplest cubic function y is equals to x cube. Okay, now we have seen that there are actually 3 types of symmetries of a graph, and now we come to our main focus, axis of symmetry, which we are interested in. By axis of symmetry, okay, if our graph is symmetric about y-axis, clearly we can see that graph is symmetric about y-axis for any value x, y, the point minus x, y also lie on the graph. And what will be the axis of symmetry in this case? The axis of symmetry is very easy to determine. Basically, this y-axis is our axis of symmetry. Okay, so if our graph is symmetric about y-axis, then the axis of symmetry will be the y-axis. Very simple to remember. Now we come to the symmetry about x-axis. This should be like this and not this line. Okay, we have our graph which is symmetric about x-axis. about x-axis, and we are interested in knowing the axis of symmetry, that is the line passing through the vertex. In this case, the line will be the horizontal line passing through the vertex. Same as with the case of symmetry about y-axis. In this case, what would be the axis of symmetry? We can clearly see that this x-axis will be our axis of symmetry. Now the last type of symmetry, that is symmetric about origin. Okay, we have, and we draw this line as well, this dotted line, some more on this side, and erasing the extra lines. Okay, now this is a graph which is symmetric about origin. Fine, and we can clearly see that the point xy lies on the graph, so the point minus x minus y also lies on the graph. And what will be the axis of symmetry? Is there any guess? Well, the guess is very easy. This line y is equals to x is our axis of symmetry. That is, if the graph is symmetric about the origin, so the line y is equals to x will be our axis of symmetry. Now we come to our point vertex again. The vertex of a parabola can be found by using the formula. By formula or by the coordinates, x and y coordinates, which are x coordinate is minus b over 2a and y coordinate is 4ac minus b square over 4a. But when an equation has two x-intercepts, the vertex lies midway between the two x-intercepts. We have seen the examples of quadratic equations which have two x-intercepts. Then in that case, what will be the vertex? That point will be the average of those 2 points, or the mid value of those 2 points. But when a quadratic equation has only one x-intercept, then that x-intercept is basically the vertex. So in that case, the vertex lies on the x-intercept. Okay. For example, we have our quadratic equation as this, parabola like this. So what will be the vertex in this case? The vertex is basically, it is concave up, so the vertex will be the lowest point, that is this point. In fact, this point is our vertex. And we can see that the graph has two x-intercepts, namely this x-intercept and this x-intercept. So what if we know the values of the x-intercepts, we can easily find the x-coordinate of our vertex. Instead of by putting the values of a and b in our formula minus b over 2a, by knowing the x-intercepts, we can easily find the x-coordinate of our vertex. In this case, we have two x-intercepts, so the vertex will be, the x value will be equals to the midway, that is the sum of this point plus this x-coordinate divided by 2. If this point has coordinates, let's say x1 0, and this point has coordinates x2 0, then the vertex will be equals to x1 plus x2 divided by 2, the x-coordinate of the vertex. And if an equation has only one x-intercept, this, then in this case, vertex will be the x-intercept basically, that is this point, that is this point will be the vertex. In case of one x-intercept, that x-intercept will be the vertex, and by knowing the x-intercept, we can easily find the x-coordinate of our vertex. Okay, let's have a look at some examples where we can find the vertex of our given quadratic function. Our quadratic function is given as f of x equals 2x square plus 3x minus 20. Then first we have to identify our a, b and c. A is equals to 2, b is equals to 3 and c is equals to minus 20. Okay, we have identified our a, b and c. Now, and first we will find the vertex by using the formula of the x-coordinate and the y-coordinate. The formula for the x-coordinate is minus b over 2a. By putting the values of b and a, we obtain minus 3 over 4. Okay, the coordinate for the y-coordinate is 4ac minus b square over 4a, and by putting the values we obtain that 4ac minus b square divided by 4a, which we obtain as minus 160 minus 9 divided by a as 8 as minus 169 divided by 8. So this is the y-coordinate of our vertex, and the vertex in this case is minus 3 by 4 minus 169 divided by 8. So given a quadratic function, we can find the vertex either by using the formula for the x-coordinates or the y-coordinates, or by using the function f, which we will see now. The alternate is, if you remember in our previous slides, that given the x-coordinate minus b over 2a, we can find the y-coordinate by putting the value of this x-coordinate in our function. So alternatively, given our x-coordinate, x is equals to minus 3 over 4, we can find the value of y by putting the value of x-coordinate. That is y f of minus 3 by 4 will be equals to 2x square plus 3x minus 20, which is equals to 2 into 9 by 16 minus 9 by 4 minus 20, and simplifying we obtain 9 by 8 minus 9 by 4 minus 20, which is equals to minus 1.125 minus 20, which is minus 21.125, which is nothing but minus 169 divided by 8. So in this case, the y-coordinate of the vertex is same as we have obtained by using the values, by putting the values in our formula. So we have two alternates to find the y-coordinate. Similarly, for the x-coordinate, we have two options. Either we find the x-coordinate by using the formula minus b over 2a, or if we know the intercepts, from there we can find the x-coordinate. Okay, for the y-coordinate, we also have two options, either by putting the values in our formula, which is 4ac minus b square over 4a, or alternatively by putting the value of x-coordinate in our function, and the resultant value of y will be the y-coordinate of the vertex. Now we will see how we can find the vertex by using the x-intercepts. Okay, we will work with the same example. 2x square plus 3x minus 20 equals to f of x, and we want to find the vertex by using the x-intercepts, which means that we have to put this equation equals to 0, or we have to make it into an equation form equals to 0. Now we want to find the values of x, that is the roots of this quadratic equation, and the roots of the quadratic equation can be easily found by factoring it. So how we obtain by using factors? 2x square plus 8x minus 5x minus 20 equals to 0. Simplifying or taking 2x common, we obtain x plus 4 minus 5x plus 4 equals to 0. 2x minus 5 and x plus 4, their product is equals to 0. And the product of two terms is 0. Definitely x is equals to 5 by 2 and x is equals to minus 4. Now we have two x-intercepts, namely 5 by 2 0 and minus 4 0. And with the help of these x-intercepts, we can find the x-coordinate of the vertex, that is by taking the average of these 2 points, which is 5 by 2 minus 4 divided by 2 will be 5 minus 8 divided by 4, which is minus 3 by 4. So we can find the x-coordinate of the vertex either by using the formula, or if we know the vertices, or if we know the intercepts, by using the intercept. Now we have done enough examples, and we have done enough examples to find the vertex. And in our previous lecture and in the beginning of today's lecture, we have revised that how we can find the concavity, y-intercept and x-intercept of a given quadratic function. And now we also know how we can find the vertex of a given quadratic function. Now we have all the 4 tools which we need to sketch our quadratic function. So let's take our quadratic function f of x as 3x square plus 6x minus 45, and we are interested in the sketch of this quadratic function. Okay, all we have to do is to find all these 4 values one by one, and then with the help of these informations we can sketch our quadratic function. Now by comparing it with the general form, we have a is equals to 3, which is positive, which means that the graph will be concave up. Okay, first thing we have already calculated. Now we are interested in the y-intercept. Okay, one thing important, y-intercept. To find the y-intercept, we only have to put the value of x equals to 0, and from there we obtained that y is equals to 0 minus 45. So the y-intercept is 0 minus 45. Okay, this is helpful for us, this is important for us. And now the x-intercept. The x-intercept is where y is equals to 0, which means that we have to solve our quadratic equation either by factorizing or by using the quadratic formula, which means that 3x square plus 6x minus 45 is equals to 0. Now we will use the factorization method, that is we will make the factors of our given quadratic equation. If we look at it carefully, we can take 3 common from the whole equation, and we are left with x square plus 2x minus 15 is equals to 0. Definitely 3 cannot be equals to 0, so our equation reduced to x square plus 2x minus 15 equals to 0. Okay, and we have to find the roots of this new equation, x square plus 2x minus 15 equals to 0. square plus 2x minus 15 equals to 0. We can easily factorize this equation by making the factors 5x and minus 3x. Okay, taking x common from the first two terms, we obtain x plus 5, and minus 3 common from the last two terms, we again obtain x plus 5, altogether equals to 0. Taking x plus 5 common, we are left with x plus 5 into x minus 3 equals to 0. So now the product of two terms is equals to 0, implies x is equals to minus 5 and x is equals to 3. So the x-intercepts are minus 5, 0 and 3, 0. We'll put it in a box that this will be needed later. Okay. Now the vertex, the last thing we are interested in. Okay. For the vertex we need our x-intercepts, because this method is easy. X-intercepts are minus 5, 0, x-intercepts and 3, 0. Okay. For the x-coordinate of the vertex, we will take the average of these two, that is minus 5 plus 3 divided by 2. This minus 2 by 2 is minus 1. It's the x-coordinate of the vertex. And now the y-coordinate. For y-coordinate, we will calculate the value of our given quadratic function at this value, at this x-coordinate, that is minus 1. And now which quadratic equation we will use? X square plus 2x minus 15 is equals to 0. No, our given quadratic equation is 3x square plus 6x minus 45. So we have to put the value of x in our given quadratic equation and not the simplified one. So you have to put the value in 3x square plus 6x minus 45. Simplifying, we obtain 3 minus 6 minus 45 is equals to minus 48. So this is the y coordinate of our vertex. So basically the vertex has coordinates minus 1 and minus 48. Okay. Now we have all the required information to sketch our quadratic function. For the sake of simplicity, okay, put it in a box, and now for the sake of simplicity we write all these four informations again. The graph will be concave up. Okay, x-intercept was 0 minus 45, y-intercept was 3, 0 and minus 5, 0, and the vertex has coordinates minus 1 minus 48. Okay. Okay, concave up. Now this is our point 3, 0 and this is our point minus 5, 0. Okay, we extend it more downwards. This is, let's say, our point minus 45 on the y-axis, and this is our point minus 1 minus 48. And now what we have to do, we simply have to connect all these points by a curve passing through the vertex, which is minus 1 minus 48. Okay, first we connect our first x-intercept with the y-intercept. Okay, we obtain this. Now this is our vertex, so here it will have the value like this. Now we have to connect our second x-intercept with our vertex, that is from the point -50 to the point -1, -48. Okay, and now since the given graph will be concave up, which means that open from the top, so extending this line like this and extending this line like this. This is not a good sketch, but we can have an idea that what type of graph or what type of parabola it will be, or how the parabola will look like. Okay, now since our given function has a parabola which is concave up, so the point of vertex -1, -48 will be the lowest point. This is our vertex, which is the lowest point on the graph. That is the minimum value of y on the graph. And what will be the axis of symmetry? Vertical line passing through the vertex. So vertical line passing through the vertex, up and down. Okay, we better erase these unwanted horizontal lines. Now, so this is our axis of symmetry, dividing our parabola in two equal halves. So this vertical line is our axis of symmetry, dividing our parabola in two equal halves. Okay, now we have seen that by having the information of these 4 points in hand, that is the concavity, x-intercept, y-intercept and vertex, we can easily have an idea. Where is our x-axis? Oops, our x-axis missing. We can easily have an idea that what will be the graph of our given quadratic function, how it will look like, what will be the lowest point, what will be the highest point, how wide the graph is, and so on. What will be the axis of symmetry, that is on which vertical line the graph will reflect, the graph will give its mirror image or reflect itself. Okay, we solve one more example to make the things clear, that how we can sketch the graph of our parabola. Okay, we have our function y is equals to f of x equals to minus x square minus 4x plus 12. Okay, and how we start? We start with finding the concavity. So by comparing our given quadratic function with the general form, we obtain that a is equals to -1, that is this coefficient, which is clearly negative. So the graph will be concave down, means it will be open from the bottom. First thing we have already identified. Now we are interested in the y-intercepts. Y-intercept, there should be no s. Okay, y-intercept is obtained when the value of x is equals to 0, which means that our y will be equals to 12, and we obtain the point 0, 12 as our y-intercept. Now we have solved the concavity, the y-intercept, and now the x-intercept. Our given equation is, function is minus x square minus 4x plus 12 equals to 0. We have already put y equals to 0 to find the x-intercept, and now we have to solve this quadratic equation. That is, we have to find the roots of this quadratic equation. Again, we will make the factors of this quadratic equation. How? We will write it as minus x square plus 6x minus 2x plus 12 is equals to 0. Okay. By taking x common, we obtain, or before making the factors, what we can do is we can take minus 1 common. We obtain x square plus 4x minus 12 is equals to 0. Since minus 1 cannot be equals to 0, so we are reduced to find the roots of our equation x square plus 4x minus 12 is equals to 0. Okay, we can skip these steps. Now we will make the factors. Okay, by x square plus 6x minus 2x minus 12 is equals to 0. By taking x common from the first two terms, we obtain x plus 6, and by taking minus 2 common from the last two terms, we obtain x plus 6 inside equals to 0. Simplifying, or by taking x plus 6 common, we obtain x plus 6 into x minus 2 equals to 0, which means that x is equals to minus 6 and x is equals to 2. So now we have our x-intercepts as minus 6, 0 and 2, 0. Okay, now the only thing which is left to find is the vertex. Okay, if we look here, we have two x-intercepts, and the x-coordinate of the vertex we will find by using these two x-intercepts. Our two x-intercepts are minus 6, 0 and 2, 0. The x-coordinate will be minus 6 plus 2 divided by 2 will be equals to minus 4 by 2, which is minus 2. Okay, our given equation was minus x square minus 4x plus 12 equals to function of x with a equals to minus 1 equals to minus 1, b equals to minus 4, c equals to 12, and by using the formula, what would be the x coordinate? It should be the same, but x will be equals to minus into minus 4 divided by 2 into a, which is minus 1. We obtain 4 over minus 2, which is minus 2. Okay, one thing you should have noticed here, that in order to find the x coordinate of the vertex by using the formula minus b over 2a, we have used our given quadratic equation and not this simplified one where we have taken minus 1 common. We will not use this equation, but we will use our given equation. If we will use the simplified one, the vertex obtained or the x coordinate will not be correct. Okay, now we have the x coordinate of our vertex and we have to find the y coordinate. We will find the y coordinate by putting the value of the function or by finding the value of the function at our x coordinate, which is -2, we obtain -2 square with 1 minus before, minus x square minus 4 into -2 plus 12, which will be equals to -4 plus 8 plus 12, which is equals to 16. So the vertex has coordinates -2 and 16. If we want to find the y coordinate of the vertex by using the formula, which is 4ac minus b square over 4a, what do we get? We should get the same answer. By putting the values of a, b and c in our formula, we obtain 4. A is -1 and c is 12 minus b is -4 square divided by 4 into -1. Simplifying, we obtain -48 minus 16 divided by -4, which is equals to -64 divided by -4, which is nothing but the same value which we have obtained by using the value of x coordinate in our function. Okay, now we have all the required information and we will sketch the graph of this quadratic equation. First information was that the graph will be concave down. X-intercept was 0, 12. We have two y-intercepts, namely -6, 0 and 2, 0, and the vertex has coordinates -2 and 16. Okay, now 2, 0, this point when x is 2, y is 0. Okay, -6, 0. First we will locate the points on our axis. When y-intercept is this point, 0, 12. When x is -2, our y is 16, that is this point. This is our vertex. Okay, and the last step is to connect all these points. Connecting our x-intercept -6, 0 with our vertex -2, 16. Now connecting the vertex with the y-intercept, which is 0, 12, and now connecting the y-intercept with the second x-intercept, which is this should be more towards inside, which is 2, 0, and since the graph should be concave down, that is open from the bottom, extending this line and extending this line, we obtain the graph of our given quadratic function. And now comes the last thing to identify on the graph, the vertex. We already know this is the vertex. Since the graph is concave down, the vertex will be the maximum point or the highest point on the graph, that is the maximum value which y can attain on this quadratic function, highest point. And the last thing is the axis of symmetry, vertical line passing through this vertex. We have some unwanted horizontal lines. Okay, we may erase them first. This line gone, this line gone. Okay. So this line is our axis of symmetry. Basically dividing our parabola in two equal halves and giving us the mirror image of our parabola. That is, on the right side of this axis of symmetry, the pattern of the graph is exactly the same as on the left side of the axis of symmetry. So up to here we end our today's lecture, and we summarize what we have done in our last lecture and today's lecture. First, we have seen that why we need quadratic functions, what are quadratic functions, and we have seen by different examples that how we can identify that the given function is quadratic or not. Then we were interested in the graph of quadratic functions. For this, we need four main things: concavity, x-intercept, y-intercept, and the vertex of our graph. Okay, then in our last lecture we have studied the concavity and the intercepts. Today we have seen the vertex, how we can find the vertex of a given quadratic function, and how it helps us in sketching the graph of our quadratic function, which is the parabola. What is the axis of symmetry? We have also seen it graphically, and we have also studied some more information about the symmetry of a graph, that there are basically three types of symmetries: graph symmetric about y-axis, symmetric about x-axis, and symmetric about the origin. With this we end our today's lecture, and we have some questions, practice questions from section 6.1. And in our next lecture we will see about the applications of quadratic functions, that we are given a real world phenomenon, a real world problem, how we can translate our real world problem in a quadratic function, and how we can interpret this quadratic function by graphing our quadratic function. With this we end our lecture. Allah Hafiz, students.